Recorded Books Inspirational presents an unabridged recording of Dawn's Prelude by Tracie Peterson, narrated by Linda Stevens. This book is copyrighted 2009 by Tracie Peterson. This recording is copyrighted 2010 by Recorded Books, producer and publisher of Recorded Books Inspirational, an imprint dedicated to stories of faith and the human spirit. And now, Dawn's Prelude.
Chapter 1. Kansas City, Missouri, early April, 1870.
I have no intention of Lydia inheriting any of Father's money,
Kjell Gray announced.
She's nothing to this family. An outsider imposed upon us after the death of our mother. She's entitled to nothing.
Hush, his younger sister Evie replied. She's just in the next room. Sitting alone in the formal parlor that had displayed her husband's closed coffin only hours earlier, Lydia Gray rocked quietly. She allowed the hatred of his grown children to wash over her and numb any concerns or fears she might have otherwise given credence. With exception to Evie, they had hated her from the first moment she'd entered their home. Not that Lydia could blame them. She'd hated nearly everything about her 12 years of marriage to Floyd Gray. Nothing would change their feelings now. And so she rocked. "I'm only 28, she reasoned. 28 years old, and nearly half of those years had been spent in an abusive marriage to a man who treated his horses better than he'd treated his wife. His second wife. Lydia glanced up at the portrait of the children's mother. The oil painting had been commissioned at Charlotte Gray's request for her husband's Christmas gift in 1858. After presenting it to him in the morning, Charlotte promptly excused herself from her family's revelry and leaped to her death from the widow's walk. She had been 37 years old and had left behind 2 grown sons, a 12-year-old daughter, Jeanette, and 4-year-old Eve. The sorrowful gaze of the blonde-haired Charlotte stared down from the wall. Her lonely expression had haunted Lydia since she'd first come to this house. It bore a look of pain that Lydia understood firsthand. It was almost as if the two shared a bond that crossed between the living and the dead. Many had been the time Lydia had come to this room just to rock and stare at the painting.
"The will can be read immediately, and once we see what that has to say,"
Marston, Mitchell's twin, announced,
"we can be rid of her. I can't imagine that Father would have left her anything. I believe we should give her until the end of the month to settle her affairs and leave. It's not like she has much to concern herself with. Father never gave her anything of her own. It all belonged to Mother. The jewelry, furnishings, and servants will stay here."
"Then why give her until the end of the month?" Jeanette Gray Stone questioned. Jeanette had resented the intrusion of her father's second marriage. It wasn't that she missed her mother all that much, but she didn't like her position as lady of the house being usurped by a stepmother, especially one only a few years older than Jeanette herself. Lydia listened to them argue about how long they should give her to be gone from their lives. They had already established she should have nothing that had belonged to their father, no reward for enduring 12 painful years of marriage to a cruel and vicious man, no sympathy for all she had suffered. She glanced up again. Charlotte's gaze seemed sympathetic, almost soothing. She seemed to silently suggest that only death would ease Lydia's miseries. And so she rocked. Shadows danced across the elegant...
Sample complete. Ready to continue?